Hello, welcome to Christian Mindfulness video for our Easter Saturday morning. This is the place where we immerse ourselves in the stories of Jesus and the words of Jesus as we are visiting the story of Jesus coming to the cross. Jesus coming to the cross, and then today we are in the space where Jesus has already died. I've actually been meditating on Mark's Gospel this time. Mark's Gospel gives us the time frame. It tells us in Mark 15, verse 25, that Jesus was put on the cross on the 3rd hour of the day. So that's 9 a.m. in our time frame. And it also tells us that Jesus dies at the 6th hour, which is, at the 9th hour, which is at 3 p.m. But at the 6th hour to the 9th hour, there was darkness in the land. So there was that 3-hour period of darkness. I wonder if that's when Jesus was calling out, Elo, Elo, lama sabachthani, which is translated, my God, why have you forsaken me, in those dark hours. Do you know, Jesus died probably sooner than the soldiers thought he would die. All the other soldiers had all the other prisoners had their legs cut to ensure rapid death. But Jesus died by the 9th hour. And I'm just going to read from verse 37. And Jesus cried out with a loud voice and breathed his last. Then the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Now when the centurion who stood opposite him saw that he cried out like this and breathed his last, he said, truly this man was the Son of God. There were also women looking on from afar, among whom were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, the less, and of Joseph and Salome, who also followed him and ministered to him when he was in Galilee, and many other women who came up with him to Jerusalem. Now when evening had come, because it was the preparation day, that is the day before the Sabbath, Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent council member, who was himself waiting for the kingdom of God coming, and taking courage, went in to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Pilate marveled that he was already dead, and summoned the centurion. He asked him if he'd been dead for some time. And when he found out from the centurion, he granted the body to Joseph. Then Joseph brought fine linen, took him down and wrapped him in the linen, and he laid him in a tomb which had been hewn out of the rock, and rolled a stone against the door of the tomb. And Mary Magdalene and Mary the mother of Joseph observed where he was laid. I suppose when we look at the timeline of what happened, Jesus dying at 3 p.m., there's really only 3 hours before the Sabbath day preparations start, which is about 6 p.m. So in those 3 hours, Joseph of Arimathea had to go up to Pilate and ask for the body to be released to him. And the Pilate then calls for the centurion, the same probably centurion who'd made the comment about Jesus being the Son of God. That same centurion comes up to Pilate and says, yes, he is dead. And then Joseph is allowed to take the body, and he wraps him in some new linen cloths and lays him in a new tomb that had just been hewn out of the rock. There's a whole lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that we sometimes don't see when things happen, big events and whatnot. This Joseph of Arimathea was a behind the scenes person. He was a person looking and longing for God's kingdom. And he did this service to Jesus. And we all recognize it because it's recorded in all the Gospels. I would long to be a person who does service to God, who is a person in the background, who just takes the initiative, sees something that needs to be done and steps into that space. So that's my prayer. My mindfulness prayer for you today is that you would think along the lines of being like Joseph of Arimathea, that you would step into the gap of a place where you are needed do a good work that God has prepared for you to do in advance. So that's it for today's mindfulness journey on Easter Sunday.